Oh, yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
We're live.
Oh. Hey, y'all. I was over here distracted. I was looking at the comments. But anyways, hey guys, I'm Chef Z and welcome back to another live stream. If you're new here, I'm Chef Z and this is part of my Cook With Me summer live stream series where we get together every Tuesdays and Thursdays and we cook some really awesome meals together. We talk a lot of stuff, a lot of junk, a lot of happy stuff, and we just literally hang out while we cook some really good food. We talk together. You guys can ask me any questions you want in the comment section. Now, typically the way we do things here is I like to give people just a couple of minutes to show up because it is 7 o'clock. It's that time of the night where you're either coming home from work, putting the kiddos down, or having dinner yourself. So I just want to give people just a couple of minutes to show up. Apologies if you hear my dogs in the background. I have my sister actually dog sitting for me because I don't know what it was today, but they were like a little extra needing. So while we wait a couple of minutes for people to join us, feel free to comment in the group. I call it the group chat because at this point we're family, but the live chat, and let me know. I'm just curious to know, what is your favorite pasta dish? What pasta dish just makes you go gaga? Which one do you love? I'll go first. I'll let you guys know I am very basic when it comes to my favorite pasta dish. It's actually the one that we're making today. And not only that, but these days I'm really enjoying some veggie pasta. I discovered Ronzoni, not sponsored by the way, but Ronzoni makes this veggie pasta where the pasta itself is enriched with chickpeas, spinach, and carrots. And I have been seriously loving that, and it just makes me feel a little less guilty about having pasta, especially when I'm having pasta for lunch. So I just want to see real quick before we get started, I want to see what you guys are chit-chatting about. So we have, let's see, let me scroll. Hey everyone. Oh wow, someone says, yay, my favorite. So Bianca says, espagueti blanco con jamoncito. If you know, you know. Ooh, I haven't had that in a really long time, and that actually would be a pretty dope idea for a video. So I'm gonna keep that in mind for a future video. A lot of people are saying hi. What's up, Nancy? What's up, Giselle? What's up, Brianna? Oh my goodness, we have Rosanna in the house. Hello. Wendy, what's up? And then someone else said shrimp Alfredo pasta. Now, shrimp Alfredo pasta is another really, really, really good one. So, and that's actually a recipe that I don't have here on my channel. So that would be a good one to also make. And if anyone's interested, I do have a chicken Alfredo pasta here on my channel as well. We have penne alla vodka. When I tell you, I go crazy, crazy, crazy over some penne alla vodka. Now, unpopular opinion, when it comes to penne alla vodka, this is also a recipe I have here on my channel. I actually prefer my penne alla vodka without pancetta or without some prosciutto or bacon. That's a very popular way of actually making penne alla vodka, where it adds a little bit of smokiness to the sauce and the dish. And even a little bit of saltiness, because all of those chunks of pork are actually a little bit on the saltier side. But I actually prefer my penne alla vodka, just a nice creamy sauce like I feature here on my channel. That's another one of my favorite ones. Ooh, roasted pepper pasta. Oh my goodness. We have Tiger Lily 77. Hi from NYC. What's up? What's up? The Bronx is in the house. Hello. Oh my goodness. So we have Clem who says, what is your nationality, Chef Z? Because all your dishes look hearts, hearts, hearts. So to answer your question, this is actually one of the top questions that I get. And I am half Dominican, half Cuban. I was born and raised here in the States. I'm a first generation American, and my dad's from Cuba and my mom is from the Dominican Republic. Someone says, I love all pastas. More shrimp Alfredo. And someone says, so jealous, no Puerto Rican spaghetti. I'm sure there is. If you go to the island, I'm sure Puerto Ricans are whipping up some spaghetti that tastes just as good. All right, so it's been a couple of minutes, and I want to say a good amount of you are here. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. we're gonna jump right into today's recipe. I'm super excited for this one because, like I mentioned, it's actually one of my favorite things to eat and one of my favorite things to make. So today we're going to be making some Dominican style spaghetti. And you guys are probably wondering, Z, what makes Dominican spaghetti special and different? And the answer is in the sauce. Dominican spaghetti is one of a kind when it comes to the sauce because it's a little bit salty, it's a little bit tangy, and it's a little bit creamy because, as you guys know, I like to add a touch of cream to the sauce in the form of evaporated milk, and it really takes this dish to the next level. Now, I do have a recipe here on my channel on how to make some Dominican spaghetti, so be sure and check it out. And I also have all of the ingredients listed down below, and they're also going to pop up on screen because my husband loves to look out for me and loves to look out for you guys as well. So for any of you guys who want to follow along, just know that the recipe is listed down below. It's on my website. And bonus, I actually have a video on my channel. I have two videos here on my channel, excuse me, that breaks down how to make some Dominican spaghetti. And today we're going to be making it the OG way. But recently, not too long ago, I want to say probably, oh my goodness, no, it's actually a couple months ago now. This year is flying by. I actually made a recipe here on my channel on how to make Dominican spaghetti con salami. Now, if you know, you know. It's July, so it's beach season, so you guys already know what I'm gonna say. How many of you guys like to enjoy some Dominican spaghetti at the beach? Comment in the group chat, let me know. I am definitely one of those people who 100% looks forward to having some Dominican spaghetti at the beach. A little bit of sand, a little bit of grit, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it gets in there, but it's just part of the experience. It is so unique to us, and it's one of the things that just brings me absolute joy. All right, so I actually have some water already boiling away on the stove because we're going to start boiling the pasta. So I'm gonna head on over to the stove and then I'm gonna walk you through what we're gonna do over there. So here we go. Okay, so here we have some water, and the water is pretty much boiling away. I actually had this start off while I was waiting for the live to start. Here I have my handy dandy salt cellar, and to that I'm going to add, to the water, I'm going to add a healthy serving of salt because this is going to start the seasoning and the flavoring process for our pasta. And as a rule of thumb, they say that you want the water to be salty like the sea, which is pretty salty. So just added the salt. And because the water is up to temperature, the salt pretty much dissolved right away. And so now I'm going to add spaghetti, and I'm using regular spaghetti pasta. I'm going to add that into the water, and I'm just going to leave this here for just a minute or two, and then we're going to start nudging this into the water. Now, contrary to popular belief, you actually don't need to fill up your pot with a ton of water. A little bit of water will actually suffice. And that's one of the common mistakes that people make, is that when they're making pasta, they actually add a little bit too much water to the pot, and then they're wondering why it takes forever for their water to boil, or it just takes a ton of salt to get the water nice and seasoned the way that you want it to be. So I added my pasta, I want to say, I don't know, it's been probably like a minute, so I'm going to see, yeah, look at that. You see how that just like fell in there? So I just want to nudge it just a little bit more just for it to fit. And I just want to cook my pasta al dente. And all that's going to mean is that I want to cook my pasta just enough so that it has a little bit of a bite. Now, if you're Dominican, you know that that probably sounds foreign to you guys because Dominicans are known, not even just Dominicans, but Hispanics in general, or Latinos, they are known for overcooking their pasta. And this is a running joke because my stepdad is actually Italian, and my stepdad and I are like super serious about our pasta having a little bit of a bite. And sometimes some of my relatives are like, Esto está crudo. This is not cooked all the way. And I'm like, listen, this is perfect. This is how you want to eat pasta. Now, before we start chopping up the rest of our ingredients, I just want to see what you guys are talking about. Oh, somebody said, yes, con pan. Yes, you know what? Spaghetti con pan, it just, hits just how it's supposed to. Oh, yes, spaghetti at the beach hits differently. Yes, it 100% does. Someone said, Jessica says that your mother-in-law makes spaghetti all the time and it's really good. I agree. Oh, with tostón. Oh, with yuca. Listen, this with yuca is amazing. I'm actually kind of upset with myself because I don't have any yuca. I also didn't make note of the time when I put the pasta in because, again, when I tell you I am a stickler for making sure that the pasta is not overcooked. Now, I do notice just here from the live chat that a couple of people have joined us. Thank you guys so much for joining us. For those of you guys who joined us a little bit late, we are making some Dominican spaghetti, the oldie but goodie, the OG classic. And I have all of the ingredients listed down below for you guys if you want to follow along or even if you want to make it at a later time. Now, what I'm about to do right now is I'm actually about to chop up the onions and the peppers for this dish. Now, do note that you can actually make this dish with red peppers, red onions, white onions, green peppers like I'm doing today. I'm actually using a mix. There's no real right or wrong way of doing this. You can actually make this a variety of different ways using a variety of different ingredients. I am somebody where I eat with my eyes, so I like to use a variety of different color onions and peppers. So I'm just going to rough chop these. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. However you like it is totally fine. I always like to just cut my onions on an angle like you see me doing right here. You see this bit right here? I leave the butt of that on just because it actually holds the onion together while you're cutting it. Now, again, you're going to see people cut onions a bunch of different ways. I just cut it on an angle, and then I just go in, and you have them cubed. And you can determine how thin or how thick you want the onion slices, honestly, by how thin or thick you cut the side pieces. So I'll show you. Again, we're just going to cut them on an angle using the tip of your, oh, se me lo llevé todo. So we're just going to cut them on an angle, just like you see right here. And how thick or thin you cut these pieces will determine how thick or thin your cubes are. Now, like always, you always want to be careful. And then I made all my slits, and now we're going to cut across. I left the ends on because that's going to hold my onion together. Make sure to be careful with the tips so that we don't have any accidents in the kitchen. And there you have it. Look at that. It cuts it beautifully cubed each and every single time, and you don't need one of those fancy mandolin slicers. This actually saves you a little bit of time, and it's one less dish that you have to do. Now, I'm gonna take a quick break on cutting the onions and the peppers. I just wanna check on my pasta. I can smell it. So again, I just wanna make sure that it's not overcooking. So 1 second. As you can see, this has come to a roiling boil. Oh, looks and smells amazing. Now I can tell you right now that it still needs a couple of minutes. Now the other thing that you want to keep in mind is that salting the water generously is also going to help the pasta from not sticking together. But you also want to go in and you want to mix it up just to help those clumps break apart as well. All right, so while that's still boiling away, I'm now going to move on and I'm going to cut the other ingredients. So here I have I want to say this is roughly about 1/4 of a red pepper and 1/4 of a green pepper. You can eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And like I said, use whatever you have on hand. So if you have an orange pepper, yellow pepper, because right now it's all seasonal, feel free to use that. Now with this, you just want to, again, roughly cut it about the same size as you cut the onions, just so that everything cooks evenly, will soften evenly. I also find that, you know, it's better to cut them a little bit on the smaller side because I really like the flavor. But if you have some picky eaters at home, honestly, the best thing for you to do is to cut them actually on the bigger side, because then it's going to make it easier for you to pick it out versus having to pick out a bunch of little ones. So, and by cutting them bigger, if you have some picky eaters at home, you still get the flavor, but you don't have the hassle of having to pick out a ton of little ones, just like you see me doing right here. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Someone said, yes, tostones. And you can't forget the slice of avocado. I 100% agree. With garlic bread. Ooh, ooh, yes. Tastes amazing with garlic bread. Yes. Did we freeze? I don't know. Did we freeze? I hope not. No, my husband's shaking his head. He says, no, we did not freeze. You guys are catching all this goodness in real time. My favorite pasta is lasagna. Ooh, I love lasagna, and I have to admit that I probably only have lasagna probably like once a year during the holiday. All right, I just checked my watch real quick. Gonna check on my pasta again. It should be just shy of al dente, so I'm gonna head back over to the stove, check on that, and then I'm gonna get back to you guys in just a moment. All right, so here we have our spaghetti. Yep, our spaghetti is just about, that's perfect how I want it. It's nice and al dente. Now, I know some of you are like, I don't know, Z, that looks a little bit under, but that is exactly how I want it to look. Because remember, we're going to be making this yummy, 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 yummy sauce, and it's going to cook in the sauce as well. So, I'm just going to now turn off my flame. I'm actually going to turn this guy on here just so that that's warming up. And now I'm going to strain the pasta. So I have my handy dandy oven mitts because I don't want to burn myself. And I'm going to, oh, just kidding. Just kidding. My strainer is not in the stove yet. All right. Let's try that again. So, here we have the pasta that I just boiled, and I boiled it, I want to say for like exactly 6 or 7 minutes. The box says like 8 minutes, but I always do a minute under because I know even once it's cooked in the sauce, I still want it to be a little bit al dente. So I'm just going to, oh yeah, there we go. And I'm just going to very quickly, I'm just going to now shock it with a little bit of cold water because number one, I don't want it to stick together, and number two, I want to stop it from cooking any further, and this steam will allow that. Now, if I had, sometimes I have all this already prepared and I go straight, oh crap. I dumped all the starchy water, and that's a key ingredient. It's all right. Regular water will do. Learn from me, guys. Take out a cup of starchy water whenever you're making some Dominican spaghetti so that you don't have this issue. Y'all can't tell right now, but you don't understand how freaking pissed I am at myself in this very moment. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Woo! I'm calling myself all kinds of names right now. You guys don't even know. You guys do not even know because look, mira, mira. I had the ladle right there with an empty cup because I was supposed to take out some water. But this is part of the reason why I love doing these lives with you guys, because I'm not always perfect in the kitchen. I miss a step, I miss an ingredient, and I mess up. And this is great. So if you get distracted at home and you forget to take out some starchy water, I'm going to show you right here and right now that that does not mean the end of an amazing dish. All right, speaking of an amazing dish, we now have some garlic that we're going to dice up. If you hashtag garlic anonymous, if you are a garlic fan just like I am, we have Odalis that says, it happens to me all the time. I dump the starchy water. Good to know that I'm not the only one because I'm smiling right now, but I am low key very, 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 very mad. All right. So, oh, hi, Gladdy. Gladdy said, I thought about the spaghetti water, and I thought the bowl on your countertop was for the little bit of pasta water. So, funny enough, I actually have a really beautiful, nice, handy-dandy measuring cup that was supposed to be for the starchy water, but I got so excited. Yo me emocioné talking to you guys that I 100% forgot all about the pasta water. But again, you know what? It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. This happens more often than you think. The nice thing about the starchy water is that because it's salty and it's seasoned and it has the starch in it, it actually thickens your sauce just a little bit. But I'm actually not worried about my sauce not coming out thick today, because there's a good amount of tomato paste, and I'm going to be adding some tomato sauce. So we'll still get that little bit of thickness to it. If anything, I'll probably just counteract it by adding a little bit more evaporated milk. All right, let's see what you guys are chatting. That's why I always pull a bowl on the bottom. You know what? That's actually very, very smart. Lou Vay says that's going to haunt you for the rest of the night. You know, at least you know me well enough to know that it will. But honestly, as soon as I taste this dish, and I know, and it's going to be amazing, we'll do a little shimmy at the end, because food excites me that much that I actually do a little dance. I'm not even going to think about it. Keith says, are you in the States? I sure am. I'm here in New York City. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know, add queso hell. Wow. You're a real one. I wish I could. I actually eat queso hell in the morning. My husband and I, like, that's what we love to snack on. I don't have some here, but I usually do. But it's only because I think, babe, like, we probably went through it maybe like 2-3 days ago. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, so again, if you guys have any questions on this recipe or anything that you see me doing here today, feel free to comment in the group chat, which is the live chat. And for those of you who just joined us, we are making some yummy Dominican spaghetti, my oldie but goodie OG recipe. I'm now going to head on over to the stove where we're going to bring this sauce together. Really, really enjoy it. And I'm curious to know what your favorite side dish is for having this. All right, so let's head on over to the stove. Actually, I'm going to head on over to the stove with all of my ingredients. Let me put all this into a bowl. You know what it is? It's Thursday, so it is like the eve to the weekend, and I just know that tomorrow I'm going to take a little bit easy, and I'm just going to cruise right into the weekend. Even though we started this week off as a holiday, I find that the shorter weeks, you end up working more. Like, you end up making up for the fact that you were off in the beginning. All right, so now, with my chopped up fresh ingredients, let's head on over to the stove. All right, so here we have our caraway pots. I'm using this today. I used the Dutch oven for the first time today. For those of you guys who are interested, I do have a code, which I've linked it down below. I'm now going to take just some olive oil and I'm going to add it to the pan. Keep in mind that this olive oil that you guys see me using right here, this is a mild olive oil that's great for sauteing. It's not extra virgin olive oil. That I like to reserve for cooking, making salads and stuff like that. All right, so I'm now going to add my onions and my peppers. Ooh, honey, I love, love, love that sound. It already smells amazing. Now, to help this sweat just a little bit, I also like to just go in and throw in a dash of salt, kosher salt to be exact. And for those of you wondering, because I get asked this all the time, I like to use Diamond Crystal Salt. It's the best one. I'm also going to add some fresh cracked pepper to that. And now we're going to mix everything until it's well combined. Now I just want this to sweat a little bit. And I'm just going to have this soften for like about a minute or so. Just going to grab some water because we're going to need it in a little bit. Guys, it smells absolutely amazing. in the kitchen. That fresh garlic is really, really coming alive. Oh my God. I'm seeing right here, your Father's Day special was spaghetti aguao. Oh, so someone asked, so we have Asleen who says, Chef Z, are you going to use salchichon or salami? The answer is no. I am making the OG recipe, which doesn't have any salami, doesn't have any chicken or anything like that. I know sometimes you can also use some smoked pork chops. We're not doing any of that today. We're keeping it classic. However, you can definitely add those ingredients. So I just added a little bit of chicken bouillon cube, a little bit of sopita. I'm also going to add here a little, right here, a little bit of Sazón con Achiote, which you can also use some ground annatto. Just going to mix this all together. So just know that I am using the caraway pot, which is non-stick, as you can see right here. If you're not using a non-stick pan, you may have to add just a little bit of oil, which is also totally fine. Oh, so much flavor. All right, and now to that, I'm going to take some tomato paste, and this is a healthy amount. And now I'm just going to add that. Make some of this sauce. I just want this to thicken up. I'm going to work that in. Now, because I am using a non-stick pan, you'll also notice that I am using a spatula, a silicone tip spatula, because that's going to help protect my pots and pans. It's going to keep it nice and new. So I'm just going to work that in. And it creates another paste. Now, one thing about me, and this is something that sets my Dominican spaghetti apart from other people, is that I actually like my Dominican spaghetti super, super saucy. So to this, I'm gonna add some tomato sauce. And this is tomato sauce that hasn't been flavored. I know that sometimes they come with basil and garlic. I tend to avoid those because I like to add the sauce to my own flavoring to things. But specifically for Dominican spaghetti, that can actually change the flavor a bit where it no longer tastes like Dominican spaghetti. So I'm just now going to work this in. Oh, looks great. And now I'm going to add some water. Now typically this would have been the starchy water, but we already know what happened there. So regular water it is. I'm just adding a little bit at a time because it's easier to add than it is to take away. So I'm just gonna work that in, work it in. I'm gonna add a little bit more. And I'm just going to continue working that in. And now the important thing that I'm going to do next, I'm actually going to turn my heat down to low because I don't want to mess in my kitchen and I want those flavors to just kind of come alive and do their thing. Wipe this off. So, you know, I know you guys always ask me, Z, how do you keep your stove in your kitchen so clean? You're watching this in real time. Anytime I have a little bit of a boo-boo, a little bit of a mess, I just go in and I clean it a little bit. All right, so let's see what you guys are talking about. Now, a couple of things I want to say about my Dominican spaghetti. Number one, there's a ton of different ways of making this very classic dish, and my Dominican spaghetti is probably a little bit different than how your tia makes it or even how your mom makes it, and I'm going to tell you why. So, I don't like dry Dominican spaghetti. It's a hard no for me. It's a pass. I know growing up, like, it's not that I didn't like it, but it was always like when my grandmother was making it, I'd be like, un poco más de salsita, please, like, un ching más, you know what I'm saying? So one of the things that sets my Dominican spaghetti apart from the Dominican spaghetti that I grew up eating is that mine is actually very saucy, and I do that on purpose. Now, when it comes to this recipe, you can either use tomato paste or tomato sauce. You can use one or the other, or you can use both. If you use both, then the sauce is really going to get nice and velvety. And obviously that starchy water also helps the velvetyness. Now, I'm going to have to add a little bit extra salt because, like I said, we know what happened earlier. But that's totally okay. So Diana says, I need a pan like that, que chulo. So these pans are actually by Caraway, and they were really, really generous and nice that they actually sent me a set of their pots and pans, and I cooked with them for the very first time here last week when I made my Cuban picadillo. It was not a sponsored video. This is not a sponsored video. I've been learning how to cook with them in real time during these live streams. They did send me a 10% off code, which you can use site-wide on any of their pots and pans or anything on their website. So I've linked it down below in case you guys want to save a little bit of money on that. They come in a bunch of different colors, and I personally think it's your house, it's your kitchen. Don't feel like you just have to stick to like a stainless steel pot or pan. Like, have fun, you know, add a little pizzazz in there. So someone says that I learned to eat Dominican spaghetti with white rice. Whoo, yes. So that is a very common way of having Dominican spaghetti. It's either with rice, con pan, con plátano, or my favorite way is con yuca, because hello, yuca girl over here, team yuca all the way. Someone says, I like Irish salt. Nat says green's her favorite color. Reina says, girl, you're the real deal. Thank you so much. Someone says, I love your stove. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. All right. So I'm going to thank you guys again for joining us. So I'm going to check on the sauce real quick. I'm going to taste it. I'm going to adjust anything that needs a little bit of adjusting. And then we're going to add some of the final touches to it, because this is actually a dish that comes together así, en un 2x3. So let's head back over to the stove. Let's see what we're working with. And any questions you guys may have, y'all know what to do. Just write them in to the live chat. All right, so look at this, look at this, look at me. Mete reguero. And that's with me having turned down the flame. So I'm just gonna taste this real quick. Oh, that tastes really good actually. It needs a tiny bit of salt. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt. I'm gonna add a touch more of water. Now, the other thing that you guys could actually add to this, and this is something that my mom likes to do, she also likes to add just a touch of vinegar. I feel like the tomato sauce is already acidic enough as it is, where it doesn't need vinegar. But if you like that little toquecito de vinagre, you are more than welcome to add some of that as well. So I just mixed that together. And because I am OCD, I'm just gonna very quickly wipe down the stove here. You guys are catching me cook for real in my kitchen. I just like, a mí no me gusta ver reguero. So I'm just wiping this, especially when you have white countertops and you're cooking a red sauce, you wanna try and wipe that up as quickly as possible before se te mancha todo. So Chris says, Chica, you add leche? Yes, girl, yes, it's coming, it's coming. We have someone says, Princess G says, I add sugar. Girl, that's coming too. Don't worry, I have a, no me be there. Sour cream, leche, yes, you guys know that's the, you guys are getting ahead of me. Look, somebody said, y le va a echar cilantro, yes. I'm doing all that. I add a little bit of salt to the sauce. So I want that to work its way through. And that's a big trick for you guys. So there's a huge difference when you're layering flavors, especially salt, whether you add it at the beginning versus adding it at the end. A lot of the times when you sprinkle salt at the very end, unless you're using like a finishing salt, it literally just feels like you sprung the salt on top of it, and it feels like you're eating like a rock of salt, versus when you're adding it in through the cooking process, and you actually get the layering effect where it infuses throughout the dish, and that's definitely something that you want. All right, so I can smell it. This is coming together. Let's head on over and let's finish this off. All right, so now we have some evaporated milk, And again, I just like to add little by little. And I'm just going to mix this all in. Oh yeah. Oh, this is hands down my favorite ingredient. You just want to work it in. Super, super good. Ah, so excited. Super, super good. Oh, nice. Look how velvety, look how smooth. Oh, so, so good. Let me give that a quick taste. See how we're doing. Oh, amazing, amazing, amazing. Another little pinch of salt. Again, I'm adding a little bit more salt than I normally do because I don't have the starchy water, which would have obviously had some salt in it. But that's one of the beauties with cooking. Don't be afraid to taste as you go because you can always adjust for flavors. All right, so now I'm going to add just a little bit of butter because that's also going to help make this nice and velvety. And I'm just going to very gently just mix that in. Ahí, ahí. Oh, so, so good. And now we're going to add a little bit of sugar. You don't need much, just a little bit of sugar. Now, fun fact, tomato sauce in general is sweeter in DR, which is one of the reasons we always like to add just a little bit of sugar to any kind of Dominican style tomato sauce. So I just added a little bit of sugar to that. And now I'm going to add some olives. Now this is totally optional. You guys know if you're regulars here that my husband doesn't like olives. I always forget that because I actually love olives. So now I'm gonna mix that in. Oh yeah, mix that in. And now I'm going to take some cilantro, just a little bit because I like to add some at the end. We're gonna add just a little bit in there. We're gonna work it in. Now with any fresh herb, it's always good to add it towards the very end because you actually get like the full payoff for it. And now we're going to add spaghetti to it. Just giving this a quick shake. Oh yeah. All right, give me a second. All right, so here we go. We're gonna add the spaghetti to this. Oh yeah. And by the way, my hands are clean, so I can totally do this with my hands. You can use tongs if you want. We're just gonna work that in there. So, so good. So, so good. Ooh. Oh guys, I'm so excited. We have Charlene who says that she's following along. Love the recipe. Thank you so much. So Rosana says that her mom says siempre dice que la mantequilla lo hace un poco más creamy. I agree 100%. So now very carefully we're just gonna fold this into the sauce. Oh yeah. Now when it comes, I told you guys that I like my Dominican spaghetti super saucy. So I didn't add all the spaghetti because I was worried that I didn't make enough sauce, but I actually did. So let me just go in, grab the rest of the spaghetti so that I can add that. And like I said, it's easier to add than it is to take away. So if you're ever making some Dominican spaghetti and you feel like, I don't know, la salsa no me va a dar, just hold back a little bit of the spaghetti because like I said, it's always easier to add more noodles than it is to take away. So now we're just going to work this into the sauce. Work it in. And by the way, I have this over low flame because I don't want this to burn. Even though one of the beauties with this pot is that because it's non-stick, the spaghetti is not going to get stuck to the pot, because I know I hate when that happens. It gets like gummy. Oh, ¿a quién le gusta eso? I know it's not me. Look at this. And as you can see, because the spaghetti is nice and al dente, it's holding its shape as I'm folding it in. It's not breaking apart. Because that's one thing. When you overcook the spaghetti, they turn to mush. Oh, absolute mush, and I hate that. So I'm just working this in there. Now, the olives have the tendency to be on the periphery, which if you're like my husband and you're not crazy about olives, you don't mind the olives being on the outside, because he knows how to avoid them better that way. All right. So I tossed the sauce until everything was coated. I have this on a low flame because I want the sauce to really infuse into the pasta. And now at the very end, I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of some fresh cilantro. Un ching ching ahí de recadito ahí para que quede bien, para que quede rico. Oh yeah. So good. And again, that's just going to give it a burst of freshness and a burst of brightness. I'm going to leave this on super low for about 2 minutes, because again, I want that flavor to really take. And then I'm going to see what you guys are talking about, and then we're going to get ready to eat. All right, guys, so we have some yummy OG classic Dominican spaghetti. I already threw everything together. We're gonna wait just about 2 minutes while that sauce it settles nice and comfy into the spaghetti. It smells amazing. Honestly, I wish you guys were right here on my kitchen island talking with me, so that I can give you guys each a plate of your own, but you know, so that you guys can see that this food comes out amazing. I'm actually trying to figure out some type of live cooking event where we can be together and meet together, but it's really hard to work out those logistics. But I know you guys have been requesting that for a really long time, for a couple of years now. So my husband and I are trying to figure out the best way to do it. But in the meantime, I do want to thank you guys so much for your support, for tuning in, for taking the time this whole summer to cook with me. I just want to see what you guys are talking about here. So we have Fran, the man, says that you love when your wife makes Dominican spaghetti with salami. My husband goes absolutely crazy when I make it with salami. And I was actually debating. I was like, man, do I make the Dominican spaghetti today with salami, sin salami, con pollo, sin pollo? Ultimately, I chose to do it the OG way, because I want to say I posted that video 4 or 5 years ago. And you guys have never seen me make that dish again since I posted that video. So I was like, you know what? There's nothing like a goodie but oldie, so I wanted to make it for you guys. And not even that, but it's like, first of all, I don't know if you can see, estoy sudando because hace calor. So I feel like Dominican spaghetti at the beach, it's that time of year where that's exactly what I am craving. So I knew that that was the best. I see you guys are adding about the apron. Yes. This is a Chef Z exclusive, so this will be coming to you guys super soon. Greetings from Washington Heights. You also love olives. Someone saying that I should do a cooking class on Zoom. I would definitely love that, and we're actually figuring out the logistics on how to do that as well. Someone says the Chef Z Food Club. I like that idea. CG Pipeline, I think you're onto something. The Chef Z Food Club. I like the sound of it. I like the ring of it. Stay tuned, because it might be coming to you sooner than you realize. We have Asling, se ve riquísimo. Thank you. I'm laughing because I said TJ Diamond says, looks good. My family will want it with meat in it. I feel you. I totally get it. I totally feel you. There are people that when it comes to pasta, they have to have it with meat. And there are people who don't mind it. I kind of go back and forth. Again, I was just really craving like the oldie but goodie OG Dominican spaghetti. So that's what I made today. But listen, you could definitely make it with salami, con pollo, and even some smoked pork chops. Nancy said that you should do a Latin cookbook. Nancy, it might be in the works, but you know, you have to stay tuned for that. And someone else said, oh, what part of DR are you from? So my mother because I'm from New York City, but I am half Dominican. My mother's from Santiago, so we're from the Cibao. So cheers, saludo, everybody from the Cibao. What's up? All right, I'm going to take a quick sip of water. And now let's get ready to eat. It's that time. It's been about 2 minutes, so this sauce is nice and settled. So here we go. I'm going to just turn this off. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, I know you guys can't tell, but OMG. These pots from Caraway, they're actually kind of heavy. I definitely had to use 2 hands for that. So now this is my favorite part of the whole entire night, and that is when we get to eat. Now, before you guys ask, because I think I just realized I used these plates when I did my Dominican Chofan live stream, and a bunch of you guys were asking me about it. These are by Le Creuset, and I actually found these in Home Goods, but if you visit their outlet store all the way out in Riverhead, or if you wait until the holiday season, Home Goods usually has them. So here we go. Woo, it's nice and hot. Oh yeah. Gonna look at that. The sauce really took to it. Oh, I'm making a mess. So when I serve spaghetti, I just like to, with my tongs, just swirl it around. Swirl it around. Just like you see right here. Oh yeah. Look at that. Now it's totally up to you. You can add a little bit of Parmesan cheese at the very end if you want. I actually like it without cheese. I'm like looking at my husband like, should I add cheese to it? Should I not add cheese to it? You know what? Comment. If you guys want cheese on it, I'll sprinkle a little bit. Rosana says, I'm Cibaeña too. Hello. The princess says, you were able to tell by the way I carry it. It's a little heavy. I had to pretend like I wasn't struggling, but clearly I'm no Oscar-winning actress. All right, I'm just going to dig into this because, listen, so hungry. I just want to taste what our hard work. I'm looking off screen because I'm looking at my husband like, babe, I did that. We're going to eat really good tonight, guys. Look, so delicious. As you can see, look at that. It's nice and hot. The sauce is nice and thick. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, absolutely nothing dry about these Dominican spaghetti, because I told you the secret is to make it extra saucy. Let it sit there for 2 minutes and it does absorb the sauce. The pasta is nice and al dente. There's nothing overcooked about it. Now, if you do like your pasta a little bit on the softer side, because, hey, I know the culture, that's totally fine. Just cook your pasta a little bit longer, and it's not a crime. It's totally fine. But that is amazing. So I was like freaking out about the starchy water. And like I told you, there was more than enough tomato paste and tomato sauce where it was going to make it nice and velvety. The evaporated milk definitely helped, and so did that little bit of butter. Now, I do want to say that a couple of things. So if you are a little bit lactose intolerant and you don't want to use evaporated milk, you can use some lactose-free milk. I do not recommend that you use almond milk or even coconut milk. You can use coconut milk. It's going to change the flavor a little bit. I wouldn't recommend it unless you like that. I'm not a big fan of coconut milk in my spaghetti. That's just me. But again, you can use a lactose-free milk if you're a little bit lactose intolerant. You can also use regular milk. You can use whole milk. You can use half and half, and you can use heavy cream. My personal favorite to use is some evaporated milk, and that's what I use today. So those are just a couple of substitutions that you can use today. And as far as the butter, you can use salted butter or even unsalted butter, and both will work perfectly. And I did, if you want to make this dish completely vegan and completely plant-based, just substitute out the chicken bouillon cube, la sopita, that I used. And you can use just regular salt, or you can use your favorite seasoning salt, whether that's like a Lowry salt or even some adobo. This is exactly how my grandmother used to make it, and even how my aunt makes it. The only difference is like I mentioned before, is like I like to make it way saucy. I'm not cheap with the sauce, okay? And that's just me. All right, so before we sign off for the night, I just want to see what you guys are saying. Someone says, so Carla says, you don't need cheese when it comes out fire. Agree. You are my type of person. We have Adrian, who says hi from Baltimore, Maryland. And he says, you know what? You could add cheese to my plate. Totally. And listen, everyone likes it a little bit differently. My husband's definitely like team cheese. And I'm like, depends on my mood. Oh, someone says, I like cream of mushroom on my steak. I actually haven't had that in a really, really long time. Oh, oat milk is also good. I actually haven't tried it with oat milk. I will definitely have to. My only concern with the oat milk is that it may not necessarily give it the creaminess that I'm looking for, because it's a little bit lighter on the creaminess. But other than that, like, I just say avoid using a sweeter milk that has a very strong flavor, because then it will alter the flavor of this. And I've seen people actually use cream cheese, and that is like decadent. Like, it actually tastes really good with cream cheese. I've only ever done it once. It was a little bit too rich for me, but that's because, like, you know, between me and you, I'm a little sensitive to dairy, so I try to stay away from some of the heavier dairy things so I'm not paying for it later.
Is there a trick to get the spaghetti not to stick?
Is there a trick to get the spaghetti not to stick? I'm assuming to not stick to the sauce or to stick to the pot. Regardless, I have the answer for both. So the key is when boiling the spaghetti. So if you saw at the very, very beginning of the live stream, I was boiling the pasta, and one of the most important things that you can do when you're making any kind of pasta, whether it's spaghetti or penne, is to actually salt your water sin miedo, without fear. You want to add enough salt so that the water is as salty as the sea, and this 100% is going to prevent the pasta from sticking to each other, and it's also going to season it. Now, contrary to popular opinion, and I say popular opinion in quotation marks because this was something that was more popular, I want to say probably like 10-15 years ago, is that people would actually add oil to their pasta water to prevent it from sticking. What ends up happening is that then it won't stick to the sauce, and that's not what we want. So adding a good amount of salt when you're boiling it is the number one step. The number two step from keeping from sticking is that when the pasta is done, like say you did it like how I did it today, where I boiled the pasta first and then I made the sauce, as opposed to doing it at the same time, you want to shock it with cold water. And shocking it with cold water is going to prevent, number one, the pasta is going to stop the pasta from cooking any further. So if you've cooked it perfectly, you're good there. And it's also going to prevent it from sticking to each other. You just have to make sure that when you're shocking it with the cold water, you're like giving it a good shake to do what you want it to do. And then the third thing you can do to prevent your spaghetti from sticking is that when you're actually cooking, you use a good amount of oil. However, if you do step number one with the salt while you're boiling it, and number two, shocking it with cold water, if it applies to your recipe, then you'll be golden, and you won't even have to go to step number three, which is adding the little touch of oil to the sauce that's needed. So I hope that wasn't too long-winded of an answer, but that's my tips and tricks of the day. So LP says, my 9-year-old says, we love your video. She always watches your recipe. Thank you so much from New Jersey. All right, guys, I think we're good for today. I am super hungry. I am super hot. Thank you again for joining me today on today's live stream where we made some Dominican spaghetti. The full recipe is listed down below. It's also on my website. I have 2 videos here on my channel where I show you how to make good old Dominican spaghetti like we made it today, and some Dominican spaghetti with salami. I may or may not be making a video on how to make Dominican spaghetti with chicken, because I know that's another popular one. But don't go too far, because I will be doing another live stream next week on Tuesdays. You know, on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 o'clock, me and you, we have a date. So mark it on your calendar, because all summer long, we're doing these live streams. Don't be afraid to comment on any one of these videos and let me know which dish you want me to make next as we cook together, because I'm always taking your suggestions. Keep in mind that all of these live streams are also listed in a dedicated playlist. So if you can't make it to the next live stream or you miss one, you can always catch the replay. And like always, I have a ton of new videos coming up, especially towards the end of the summer. So you definitely don't want to miss those. And until next week, I'm Chef Z y buen provecho. I'm going to dig in and eat because this thing is calling my name.